Yo, family, what is good? Once again, welcome back again to another daily live stream. It's going to be a bit of a short one today because I'm going to be a bit busy later on, but we had to get our daily FOMO, our daily content out so we understand what's taking place in the markets. We have got some interesting updates. The title of today's stream, as you can see, is When Will It Stop? The reason why is because we have seen another escalation of sorts with Trump, because we heard recently Canada saying that we are going to go to China instead of America now because we don't mess with you guys anymore. And Trump said, if you do that, Canada, I'm going to impose 100% tariffs on you. Is not as bad as the the tariffs on 8 European countries, but it's still an escalation of sorts, a retaliation of sorts, something that investors don't like to hear, and that could drive a little bit more uncertainty as we go into the next week. Of course, that announcement has come once again on a weekend, on a Saturday. It's almost like it's by design by this point. Every single time there's a tariff announcement, it comes out when the markets are closed. Of course, the market's still open, but the markets still kind of follow along with the general TradFi market that is closed on a weekend. So when we open our gap on Monday, we could see a reaction if there has been no resolution just yet. So we've got to keep that in mind. Now, what's important to note as we dissect all the news in today's stream is Casper right now. Of course, we're pretty much all here in Casper, although most of us, I think, also are investors in other assets as well. But we can see still very much in a safe haven environment. More so, gold running all-time highs near 5,000. Silver is now cleanly surpassed 100 and still rallying up 7% right now. Oil's also running up a little bit. But what we can see right now, the market isn't really moving much. Bitcoin just hovering just below 90k, which is kind of expected. ETH just below 3k, and so on and so forth. Casper here is doing something very interesting. Why is it interesting? Because we are still very much in a risk off or even rotational environment. We're not very much in risk on just yet, meaning that these smaller mid caps or even cryptos market as a whole is not in a position to start rallying. But Casper right now is up 4.29% on the daily time frame. Does not mean we're going to start exploding to euphoria price targets, not by any means. What this means is that we are seeing a bit of a relief, which is important because it means in the scenario that we see more headwinds, we see Bitcoin potentially come back down in value again, Casper now has a higher foundation, if you will. If Casper was still trading in and around 4 cents right now, and Bitcoin managed to correct to 88k or even to 86k at the bottom of the support band here, chances are Casper will probably correct, blow past 4 cents and come straight back down to 3.6. And in my personal belief, it's not financial advice, of course, this is still entirely possible, so don't get it twisted. But with Casper now making a rally into the support band right here, should Bitcoin start correcting in value significantly, coming to 88 or 86 or even the lower levels down here, it means that Casper's foundation, its bottom, won't necessarily be as big, because one thing we have seen for Casper for the most part, it's a small cap or mid cap, 1.5 billion market cap is quite small, but it's not that volatile in comparison to other assets in a similar position in the grand scheme of things, at least in my personal belief. So with Casper now currently up here, if we can end today's trading day within this zone here, that'd be reassuring and a potential indicator that Casper might start making a move within the support band back up to the roughly 4.6 cents zone, so 0.046. If not, and we don't manage to finish today's trading day within the zone here, then it just for me means that we were rejected at the zone here and we'll probably start trading within this zone, but it means that Bitcoin, if it comes down more so, Casper will find a bottom at a higher level, which I think is important to note, that there are still enough believers and the buyers are trying to regain control of Casper to keep it afloat is the most important part. Because I think most part, people who understand, even the market makers, for example, who are trading Casper, they understand that this is innovative technology and it's going to change the world. That's what we believe. That's ultimately what we believe. But if Casper's price continues to dwindle and deteriorate and adoption does not come through, the project will fade. Spoiler alert. That's kind of how it takes. I don't think it's going to happen. But if those conditions are met, then Casper will start fading more and more. So the market makers who understand, and they're early with Casper, they're still trying to keep it afloat to keep there being a level of interest in this project. Look at the bubbles right now. We can see NYX is doing fantastic, River's doing fantastic, KAIA is doing fantastic. But for the most part, we're not seeing too much movement. It's predominantly red. And that is predominantly because of the updates that we've seen here, where Trump said the last thing the world needs to have is China taking over Canada, and that's not going to happen, hence why he announced he will impose 100% tariffs on all Canadian goods and products if Canada makes a trade deal with China. That's not good, of course. It's not good at all. But, albeit this is going to be how it goes, I will not be surprised if by next week, or maybe a little after that, you see there's been a negotiation sorted out between Canada and America. Either way, this is currently what's taking place right now, and I think that's why the general market is looking a little bit red. We are seeing some assets perform quite well due to their ecosystem currently, the buyers regaining control. And that's why Casper is currently up 4%, which is reassuring to see. Now, where we can go from here, we have got a very, very big week next week, and I'm going to talk about that in tomorrow's roundtable with my VIPs and my executives, and also that executive roundtable will be published to the members on this YouTube channel as well, so they'll also see how we perceive next week's going to pan out. The Fed, the FOMC meeting next week, what's going to happen with that, the macro reports coming out, the geopolitical tensions coming out, and also the institutional sentiment as well, what we are seeing from them, and ultimately where the market's going to move from here. If you want to find out more, you can tune into that roundtable and watch the playback if you'll sign up to the membership on the channel, or you can tune in live and listen with us at 3 p.m. UK time tomorrow. By signing up to the VIP, you can join for a 7-day free trial and tune in live and listen to us talk about that as well. But that'll be tomorrow's story for what we're going to see next week. Either way, right now the markets are looking not too powerful today, but Casper is showing some strength, which is reassuring for us Casper holders. So we've gone through the current, oh no, what's happening again, more tariffs, more threats coming once more. I imagine that Canada will probably back off in some capacity, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Either way, this is another cause for concern, albeit not as significant as US versus China or US versus EU, but either way, it still is a cause for concern. Now, we have got some other general crypto news before we get into some other posts, Casper related posts here as well. Coin Bureau posted here that the Senate has now cancelled Monday's votes because of the severe weather, so the market structure has been delayed once again, which is, you know, it's been a continual feat right now. There is some sentiment that I've been seeing recently from institutional leaders that they will still see the market structure bill come through in the number of months, which will be bullish, and we'll talk about that in our roundtable tomorrow, amongst many other things as well. But this here is another reason why you might start seeing some headwinds in the market, because one of the key pieces of legislation that will trigger institutional inflows to the markets, and we're talking trillions of dollars, is not going to have clarity to come in just yet. So that's another piece of unfortunate news. And then we've got this post here as well from Crypto Rover, which, you know, he's a big content creator, and what he's saying here is by no means incorrect, but I think it's focusing on the wrong things right now. This is probably the most important macro event of this week, and that alone, the title for me, is all I need to say, because as you would know, a part of these live streams, also as you would know in a lot more detail with our VIPs, with the sources, we are not in a macro environment anymore. Macro means almost nothing right now. What matters is geopolitical tensions. That's what driving markets. So while this is very important, and we're going to talk about it in the stream, it will probably not do much to market sentiment, unless you see a significant upset, or be it for the better or the worse of the economy. Not tariffs, not silver or gold hitting all-time highs. For the first time in over a decade, the New York Fed is openly signaling intervention in the Japanese yen. Japanese government bond yields keep pushing to extreme levels. The Bank of Japan is still in a hawkish environment, and the yen is falling continuously. When bond yields rise, the currency usually strengthens, but Japan is the opposite happening right now, which is not good, and we can't deny that. We should understand that the yen carry trade is continuously at threat. It's a jeopardy, and Japan have tried to fix their economic shortfall, if you will, by raising interest rates, because that's how you strengthen your currency, but it's not affected the yen at all. We could look at the markets in that regard. We can see right here, we have seen a significant push today with the yen rallying 1.6% against the dollar, but even then, look at that. the dollar is still rallying against the yen, despite the fact that Japan are continuing to hike their rates and America are starting to cut them. So you should start seeing the yen rally against the dollar more significantly, and it's not happening. So Japan is in a big problem right now. This is a sign that something is breaking, and investors are feeling pessimistic about Japan's economy. As we know, Japan's poor economic conditions are horrible for the global economy. They're one of the big 5 economic countries, and it looks like the US policymakers are finally taking this risk seriously. The Fed comments suggests a shift. They're now willing to step in and support the yen. So what they're going to do is central bank is going to use its own money. They'll create or use reserves to sell their own currency and use that money to buy the currency they want to protect. So there's a possibility we're going to see the New York Fed shifting some of their portfolio, their capital, to start buying Japanese bonds to help sustain the currency. Because right now, one of the big reasons why Japan is very loved in investing world is because interest rates there are so cheap. So investors tend to normally take out loans or whatever it may be or take out investment in Japanese yen, so that you end up having the lower interest rates and then buying US assets. That's how the yen carry trade effectively works. But as the Japanese economy is breaking more and more, it means that they are now more at risk of their investments just completely disintegrating. In simple terms, US would sell dollars and buy yen. That's why the markets react fast. The US dollar index just printed one of the weakest weekly candles in months. Traders are already pricing in the potential dollar devaluation and a stronger yen. And it goes into more detail about that here as well. Already a lot more detail here. And the markets, the crypto still lagging behind the change happening right now. No, by no means is this insignificant. This is a very big deal. Something that is very much going under the radar. Something that I did just post about to my VIP community as well, actually, about how no one's really paying attention to the yen. And it's important that we need to keep in mind on that. But we have to also understand that's not currently the main driver for the markets. Unfortunately, the main driver of the market is the geopolitical tension. So while we understand that, while we know it's important, it's something that you should have on your radar, but by no means it should maybe impact your investing decision, but your trading decision right now, probably not. Not financial advice, of course. In other news, this is a quite big update as well. The SEC has now finally dismissed its lawsuit against Gemini with prejudice, which therefore means it cannot be refiled. So we are seeing more unison and support with the US administration and agencies with crypto now. All lawsuits being dropped and things are now starting to move forward, hopefully. And we know next week as well, the SEC and CFTC will be meeting together, holding a sort of meeting to discuss legislation and helping America become the crypto capital of the world. So we've got a big week next week, all things considered. It's just a shame that we are once again met with more tariff headline, which we have already seen. It's been 1 week today since Trump issued those 8 tariffs on the European countries, which he then removed 4 days afterwards. We saw, look at the markets, how volatile that was for crypto in particular, for Bitcoin in particular. Trump announced the tariffs right here. So we're already going through a bit of a pullback anyways, and Trump announced the tariffs on Saturday. We came back 8%. And then Trump announced that he was going to stop issuing the tariffs on the 8 European countries on the Wednesday, hence why you saw a green candle. And now you're seeing a bit of a red candle as investors are now worried once again that this could end up leading to something a little bit more worrisome. The fact that we could end up seeing markets open on Monday and that there has been no negotiation or resolution, we can see more headwinds. That's also why I said at the beginning of the stream why it's so important that Casper is making this push today up 5% right now, which is fantastic news. Hopefully it finishes a trading day in this zone here. Because that means that if we do see some corrections in the price of Bitcoin when the markets open on Monday, the TradFi markets, Casper therefore will find support either at this level here or this level here, as opposed to finding support all the way down here. So it's good to see Casper showing some strength right now to help find a higher floor. But welcome back, fan. Once again, it's been a minute. Hope you're doing very well. Rizzy first, as always, doing very well, brother. Casper, Tau, Ondu, Aero, and Turbo. I like that portfolio. The only one that I don't hold, well, I don't hold Aero or Turbo. I have not looked too much into either or, but I can understand how Turbo could be perceived as a good holding because of its value as a meme coin, one of the bigger meme coins. I am bullish on Casper, of course. I'm very bullish on Tower, of course, and Ondu is also an asset that I have spoke about, which, given its connection to BlackRock and what it's got going on, is one that I do also perceive as worthwhile as well. I have got one of my documentations does also cover OMDU as well in more detail. So if you want to find out more about that, of course, the ins and out of it, you can find the link to the alpha document, the playbook for real world assets, which has OMDU in it, another one in the VIP as well. Welcome back, baby daddy bro. Big call up to you as well. Welcome back, Senor Cherv. God is good, peace and love. I appreciate you very much. God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Jesus is king, 100%. Casper looks like a triple bottom right now. I wouldn't say so, because the actual it depends on how it really depends on how you look at it right now. Because where you see Casper right now, I wouldn't say a triple bottom, because triple bottom tends to normally mean you're seeing it bottom here 3 times. But in actuality, we've seen Casper double bottom here, so I wouldn't say that's the case. The fact that we are seeing a running Casper right now could indicate that buyers want to make this the new floor for Casper, which could be a nice reassuring sign. But unfortunately, the markets are still very much in a rotational or risk on environment. So we have to see how much strength can be, how much we can see Casper hold this level right now, which is fantastic. But there's a possibility Casper still come down here. If we see Bitcoin show more weakness, if we see more of these tariffs being announced as a form of negotiation tactic, or bully tactic, however you want to put it down. If you see more of these come out and more headwinds, more uncertainty, Bitcoin will continue to be lackluster and start correcting, and Casper will follow in suit, more likely than not. It will likely find a higher flooring now thanks to the price action we're seeing like today. It proves that there are still people who want to keep Casper's price at a reasonable level. But I wouldn't put it past right now that you don't see Casper come back down to here. I'm not saying it will do, of course, not financial advice, but I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility right now. For short-term victories, what we want to see is Casper finish today's trading day, which is in about 6 or so hours. We want to see in the next 6 hours Casper finish above 4.15, above this zone here, above this level here. If you see Casper hold and finish today's trading day above that, it's a good sign. We can see Casper hopefully continue and start trading within the support band here between 0.0416 and 0.0455. And you could even potentially decide you want to take that as a trade. Again, not financial advice, but that could potentially be a 9-10% with leverage at potential 2x. So that's something that we'll be looking at in our VIP as well, looking at the next opportunity right now. This has become not the easiest market to determine when trading is profitable or not, because of how when you have these, you can set up a long trade, next thing you know, Trump announced another tariff, and it's like, oh gosh, shorts are coming in right now. But the environment has become a little bit more manageable, where the catalysts and developments that causes price pumps and corrections have become more telegraphed. So trading has become a little bit better, and we're posting more. I'm sure we'll see our traders in the VIP post a lot more of them soon enough as well. But yeah, right now we're seeing Casper do very well, which is fantastic. Pulls out typical Opus Kraken. I feel that, bro. I feel that. What's going on, Kryptoni, bro? You're doing very well. Casper is rallying with gold. I know, right? Crazy stuff. Gold currently up 1, silver up 7, and Casper up 5. While everything else right now is showing quite a bit of weakness today, or lackluster movement. So good to see all around, honestly. Digital gold, lol. Amen. Casper wells are buying like crazy. That's why. I'm not surprised. Look at Casper stream real quick, actually. I'm not surprised at all to see that. If we go to the addresses right now, so we've seen some inflows from Wallet 3 and Gate of 4 million, almost 5 million cash, 2.5 mil with Bybit, 300,000 with Uphold. If you see what the one-day changes right now, we've seen some big outflows in 6 mil here. We've had another steady increase as well. So we are seeing quite a nice inflow today, all in all, which is good to see. But yeah, right now we're seeing Casper shows quite a lot of strength, which is great news. We have got some good updates regarding Casper as well, actually. So one thing I wanted to talk about, actually, first of all, was this. So HTX here. Huobi Global HTX. We can see here on their post here, you've got the Casper K there, and equally the Casper symbol off to the left here as well. And there was a question asked here from Casper Guru here, asking whether the KEF had paid HTX for a Casper marketing media promotion. Because we are seeing, since HTX has launched Casper, they're making these posts daily, and every single time we're seeing a post that, an image that correlates to Casper, either a backwards K or the Casper logo itself. To which Johnny said he can't answer that question, which is understandable. And arguably it's not that important either, truth be told. and I would agree. But I wouldn't find it. I would care to agree that there could be in the agreement that was correlated to HTX listing Casper. In the agreement, it also correlated to HTX doing with their posts here, where they're showcasing all of the other memes, like you got Toshi there as well. You got Mudeng and other of these memes that are also hovering around, and you have Casper in there as well. Casper's still getting consistent daily exposure from HTX is reassuring news, and I think that is also what's helped so much with the price. And if you look at Casper as well right now, you can see that the volume that seems to dominate right now, it used to be MEXC, now it looks like it's Huobi, HTX, which is also quite nice to see. MEXC is, well, actually not today right now, MEXC is at 11, but Huobi is still at 6.4. But Huobi seems to be more than a not one of the leading exchanges for volume on Casper right now. But we're seeing consistent marketing or media promotion, if you will, from HTX regarding Casper. So hopefully that sort of stuff continues and it brings more exposure to the project, which would be nice to see. In regards to other updates real quickly as well, Pavel Emdin, apologies for butchering that, replied to this post here, just saying how insane, it's insane how fast Uniswap CCA is becoming a default launch venue with Uniswap distribution, fully on-chain and transparent, and instant liquidity and price discovery. So we're seeing, Uniswap do very, very well, and Pavel highlighted here that our entry reinvents itself every 5 years or so. Good to see we keep rediscovering the same good ideas. And I wanted just to nitpick onto that. We're in a new cycle, so what worked last cycle won't necessarily work this cycle. That's why, for example, for YouTube right now, content creation on YouTube for crypto is at all-time lows. And the reason why is because investors are very much hell-bent on the 4-year cycle theory, despite the fact that it has been long and gone and dead. And every 5 years, it's a new trend. Last year, it was the growth of layer ones. Layer ones was the big trend for last year. This year, it seems like it's going to be AI. You still have your real-world assets with tokenization and your layer ones perform well, but the main trend, it seems like it's going to be AI this year. And you're going to, and in regards to the chains that dominate right now, you can see many, many more chains coming out. Solana's grown a lot more after it perceived to have died off last cycle. It seems like it looked like Solana had died off back here, and now Solana is one of the biggest chains with one of the most volume, and it's mainly driven by their pump fund, their meme coin success. Ethereum's still up there, but you're seeing the likes of Ondu now getting a lot of traction. So you're seeing it does reinvent itself every 5 years, and this is why I also believe that this year is going to be a big year for crypto, based on my research, but also that Casper can be an asset, a protocol that reinvents itself and inserts itself into the kind of crypto landscape and financial landscape this year as well, given what's going to be coming out soon. I made a post about it. I'll basically cover what we spoke about yesterday. Speaking about the fact that we have, where is it? Oh, it's always dodgy. I can't see them replies in it. Twitter's so dodgy sometimes. Yeah, here it is. So we have the fact that Igwa's mainnet will be launching in this first quarter, most likely, alongside stablecoins coming through the likes of Casper and Igwa Labs in this first quarter. And then we also have the understanding now that Covenant Plus could be fully feature mainnet ready within the next 2 months as well. So this first quarter in what's coming out for Casper, be it for stablecoins, layer 2s, or even just layer 1 infrastructure, is going to be so huge. And that will help create a very solid foundation for when the market start to make that turning point, which could happen sometime in the next few months. We're seeing more developments here as well. Super Typo made a post here saying it's about time, if you ask me. Added navigation buttons to the block details page, enabling navigating blocks by the blue score in Casper Stream. And you can also now look at the Genesis as well, which is a very nice feature to add. And Hutchison, rightly so, just said here, he's actually underrated for what he's been doing for Casper right now in this sort of stuff. It's fantastic here. We have got so many incredible builders, be it for in the core team or just Web3 developers who are building tools just to help Casper. It's incredible what we've seen built on it. Coin Athlete is another one. He submitted a Casper News app for Google Play review here. Once approved, he can start closed testing. The app will provide notifications for Rusty, Casper, and Vpor's GitHub repo updates. plus reports and everything available in the web version. That would be huge, because most people, I realized, especially when I'm doing my stream and I look through the analytics, they actually are on their phone 9 times out of 10. They don't use a desktop. So you can end up having an app that lets you to easily check through all the updates, what's happening in the GitHub, the most significant updates, notifications about it. The quality of life, the amount of knowledge that could end up being more easily accessible would be significant for Casper. So this is also good to hear as well. And also in other news, this Tuesday, this week, we already had Ashton and Casper Door week 1, which was massive. We had Rory and Envy, this Tuesday just gone with KRI. And this week we now have got our confirmed guests with Wolfie, the self-proclaimed Casper head of listing and business development, and also Seb, who is the creator of Cas Maps. Both of those two will be tuning on, dropping their alpha and their insights in regards to what they see happening with Casper, and also, as the title suggests, the 2026 blueprint for adoption, because I think we all can understand that Casper's biggest shortfall is a lack of adoption, but I think we're going to see that big turning point in this year based on what is being released from Caspians and developers this year. You also got the Caspathon happening right now that could also bring a lot more technical expertise into the project and more interesting applications. So tune in for Tuesday as well. Be sure to have that on your calendar, 9 p.m. UK time, 27th of January. You're going to be talking, me and Seb, with Wolfie and Crypto Pumps, all be talking about what's taking place next. And yeah, we're bringing more and more updates continuously as this Casper continues to grow more in this space. Tariffs on one country shouldn't cause too much fear. Yes, you're right, Rizzy. However, it's a tariff off the back of tariffs being implemented and then removed. What this will tell investors is that for the most part is that whenever Trump doesn't get something he wants, he'll issue a tariff on them, which basically just means that everyone has to align with Trump. That's what's going to tell investors. People don't like that. People don't like that aspect. So while it's just 100% tariffs on just Canada, it's not the same as on China or the same as 8 European countries, but it's still, especially exactly 1 week after you just saw the 8 tariffs issued and then removed, it won't help investor sentiment. It probably won't be as impactful as what you saw last week, the volatility and headwinds you saw last week, but it will still cause some negative sentiment, in my belief. So just keep that in mind, which again, we'll be talking about more so as time goes on, and I'll be breaking it all down in a lot more detail with enterprise institutional analysis in our roundtable tomorrow, which once again, if you want to tune in and watch the playback of that, you can sign up to the YouTube membership on the channel, and you'll be able to watch that when it's uploaded. And equally, you could also come join the VIP 7-day free trial or a 1-month free trial through our affiliated exchange BYDFI. Information on how to do that is in our Discord server. 1-month free trial, and you can get access to all the trading signals in there, the institutional analysis and breakdowns and market breakdowns, and equally the portfolio and the private live streams in real time as well, where you could ask questions in real time and get responses and help when it takes place. So if you want to find out more, highly recommend it. Links down below in the description. Utilize the free trials while they're still available, and you can leverage what we have gone in there and decide whether it's worthwhile for you to sign up full term or not. Casper pumping, I'm in a 50x long from 0.04023 right after the sweep of low and successful low supply auction. I mean, that is a high risk Kryptoni, but you may very well have that cash out. If you're doing a trade in this instance where it goes from, as you put it, from down this zone here, when the measure wants to work, you're putting it from a signal from around here. You know, if you've got 50x right now, you're already sitting very comfy. If you're holding it all the way up to the top here, you're looking at a massive bag and Casper you're making off that trade. Already now, if you did get into that trade, if it did actually fill in when it did reach that entry zone, then you're already sitting very comfortable right now. So hopefully it continues playing out well for you, brother. Morpho, Pendle, Zora, worth a shot. Are those cryptos you're referring to? I feel like yeah, Morpho. I've heard of Morpho. I haven't heard the other two, but I've heard of Morpho. Morpho $1.19, 450 million market cap, 11.5 mil volume here. Big exchange listings, and there's your tokenomics in here. So a lot of private stuff going on here. Token lockup as well. It is okay. Or it might be worth looking into. I have to do more research into it right now. That for me is not something I'd be happy to look at. Seeing the top 10 own 84% of the supply, that for me is a massive red flag. I don't know who the holders are exactly, but seeing the top 10 holders own 84%, that for me is a huge red flag. If you were ever trading meme coins or just ever trading in general, the typical rule of thumb is anything over 15% is a cause for concern. 20% is don't touch it. So you're seeing 84% top 10. That for me is like, oh. So 10 people right now can very easily just snap their fingers. It's not hard to get 10 people to talk to each other and just say, yeah, it's just rug pull it. That's why, you know, if it's 20%, a project can potentially survive, you know. A project can potentially survive if 20% of the supply is rugged, potentially. 80%, that's not happening. So that, for me, I'm not happy to see. That's on base. Arbitrium, it's even higher on Arbitrium. And then Ethereum's network. Yeah, so the top 10 are holding a lot. Now, I'm not sure who the top 10s are, but that, for me, I'm just like, ooh, not a big fan of that. So that just off that alone, if you like Morpho, perfectly fine with you, brother. I don't personally like that. So that would already make me a little concerned. Looking at Pendle, can't see anything there. Unless if you're not talking about crypto, then, you know, Zora here as well. 188, 3 cents, 139 mil market cap, max supply 10 bill. It's done okay in its short lifespan. It's got Coinbase. That's the tokenomics here. Team 20%, treasury 20%, investor 25%. Okay, half of it's already locked up. Whole distribution 58%. Again, similar story there. It's not as bad as the last one, but still. I mean, yeah, I guess similar story in that regard. If you hold these assets, that's perfectly fine for you. I personally wouldn't touch them, just because that for me doesn't make me pedal spelled wrong. Okay. Pedal spelled wrong. Pen. Okay, there you go. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, whether you can, again, end of the day, depends on how you look at them. If you're looking at them as just a way to make gains, then you got to do what's best for you. But based on what I have just had a very, very brief overlook of the projects, because I'm not doing a deep dive in here right now, but a very brief overlook, I'm like, I'm not the most reassured by what I'm seeing right now. Most of it's already unlocked, but there's a bit that's untracked here. Here's the tokenomics here as well. Whole distribution. Yeah, it's a similar story, right? Arbitrium, 50%. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you know where I'm going with that. By all means, brother, Razal. If you like those assets, more power to you. I'm not going to tell you where to invest your money. I'm not a financial advisor, but I would not lie in saying that these do issue some major warning flags for me. Whether you look at, you know, the tokenomics and all that stuff, because I mean, I hold proof of stakes myself, of course. And some of them also have their cause for concerns. So you've got to weigh up the risk to reward for you. For me, I'm not a particular fan of that. Now, if I do deeper research into them and I see what their inherent use case is, I might be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to take a small risk on that to make a quick 2x and then get out, you know? That might be my sentiment on that. But just looking on a very basic level, just seeing the tokenomics, I'm like, I don't know enough about the project. If it's worthwhile looking into more, so I will do, but that's not filling me with a lot of reassurance right now, in all honesty. One thing that does fill me with reassurance, one project that I do like, is Virtuals. Which is a bit of a different story here, but this is Virtuals. Of course, it was perceived as more so of an AI meme, and now it's become an actual infrastructure, which I think is quite a big deal. Virtuals embodied AI is the next phase of agent economy. We're excited to support Fabric FND's mission to coordinate general purpose robots through open on-chain infrastructure. As part of this collaboration, the virtual community has been granted priority allocation of robo here. This is quite a big deal, all things considered, and this may help out virtuals going forward as well. The way I see it is, in short, that this kind of sparks another incentive or moment that AI agents are stepping more into the limelight, center stage, and how big they're going to be into the real world. And these are backed, by institutions, institutional interests. For example, virtuals, we know that they are currently on, if you don't know, they are currently on Grayscale's assets of consideration, which is Casper was there once upon a time, of course not anymore, but virtuals are currently on that list. So that means there is some elements of institutional interest into virtuals, and given its AI agents and AI alignment, I would not be surprised to see virtuals perform quite well. So far since 2026 has started, virtuals already done pretty well here. Had already made a almost 2x in value. Now it's currently up about 27%. So even then, it's not done so bad. Issuing better at the beginning of 2026, which we spoke about in our VIP community. You've got Render, similar story here. Another AI asset that we spoke about. Already done a 2x. And now it's currently up 56%. Tau, not done as much since the beginning of 2026, but even then, it's still up this year. Up 10%. You've got Power, one we spoke about a lot more in this community recently due to how volatile it is, but also the high risk reward it has provided so far. Beginning of this year, to be sort of speaking about it, you've seen almost a 4.5, 5x in Power so far. And even now, with correcting, it's up still 2.5x in value, 162%. I'm currently waiting to probably take a little bit more because I do believe it will be one that could perform. It's my high risk play. I'm not putting too heavy into it, but it's one that I think can do quite well this year. It's one of the assets I spoke about in my VIP community, which you can get access to the whole playbook and the whole portfolio and the Google Doc about that in the VIP. But I'm looking for it to get into this zone here. I think it will probably just correct below the golden pocket, and that's when I'll have a buy order for it. We'll start hopefully see that fill, and we'll see when the market really rallies this year, which it will happen. Power will probably go flying. But Power's one that I'm also looking into. And some other ones as well that I think also are going to do very, very well as AI assets that I have got on my radar. And in my list here, you can find out more in the VIP. We're already doing quite well in, frankly, all the assets we spoke about in the recent AI doc and assets we're holding. I've already done very well this year, which is good to see. So hopefully see it continue. Yeah, he spoke about the last stream as well. Solana actually crashed 90%. Actually, just while I segued away from it, quickly segueing back into virtuals. The reason also why, and I'm going to again showcase more proof to that, this document came out January 7th, so about 2 weeks ago now, from FinTech Global, but it's talking in particular about Hawk and Chartis, who are, leading institutions when it comes to AI as well. And they've done a lot of AI research, and they viewed it as an experimental capability, but as a core component of modern financial crime and compliance strategies. So according to their research here, banks are preparing for a major increase in AI investment this year. 82% of banking compliance and risk leaders expect their AI investments to grow by more than 25% over the next 2 to 3 years. And a further 10% anticipate more modest growth up to 25%. That should showcase a small element of this document here. One of my institutional researches that I posted to the VIP community. And that to me is another very crystal clear proof of the AI trend that's coming through in 2026 even. That's why that's why I made the AI doc, while we're looking at assets like virtuals, assets like Tau, like Render, that seem to be very well poised to see a lot of institutional capital flowing into it and investments going into it this year because of the AI trend. And you want to be ahead of the game and in time for this sort of capital rotation, which is already starting to happen. Come join the VIP. Tune in and learn a lot more in there as well. 4-year cyclists are wild. We just came off 1 year bear market. How can we have a bear market after bear market? Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? It is crazy, but they'll soon come to realize when the market starts pushing, like Q2 going towards Q3 area, that they made a mistake in listening to the KOLs and content creators that said 4-year cycle. And they realize that the ones who are actually saying we're in a business cycle, who are showcasing research and information that I've been showing that the cycle has not died, they'll be like, oh, I know who to listen to now and who not to listen to now. I'm filled up on it, almost 1K already. Fantastic, Tony. Love that. Hopefully it continues printing for you. And yes, I appreciate very much, Tony, as always. If you enjoy the content and want to help support me, the best to do so, you can support me through BYDFI, the affiliate exchange. And in doing so, use the steps in the Discord server. You can get a 30-day free trial to the VIP as well. In the Discord server right there. Also the VIP, highly recommend checking it out. Go to support me as well. And you can get a 7-day free trial to that. Twitter and also the blockchain banter stuff, not the KRI this time round, but still the blockchain banter spaces on Tuesday. Tune into those, are going to be very, very insightful and only get better from this point forward as well. Welcome back, Gosu bro. You did very well, my man. We need the business cycle to take off. It's been dragging at the bottom for 2 years now. Yeah, we do. We do. It'll take off when the time is right, but right now we are seeing some reassuring signs that we're going to start seeing economic growth, but it's not there yet. We'll probably start seeing it this year though. And yeah, no, all those assets we looked into briefly, like, if you invest into them, that's perfectly fine. I just don't personally find them I don't find them reassuring to look into. And that's my lack of information on the project, is just going on a purely surface analysis. But I'm not the biggest fan of that alone. Welcome back, Ape. Hey, yo, appreciate all the work you do, brother. Don't stop. I appreciate it very much as well. Don't worry. I'm going to be here for the long run. And yeah, I do understand, when you look at max supply, it is, because it's a proof of stake, they can increase whenever they want, so it doesn't work the same way. I get that. Good morning, Buffalo, bro. You're doing very well, my man. My TP is aiming for that order block on the daily. We should go there easy in money. Well, hopefully we do. Hopefully we do. But that being said, is it me or the stream sound so low? Maybe it is. I'm a bit far off my mic, truth be told. I'll try and fix it for future right now. I've been having a lot of complaints about that. I don't know why it just suddenly got really, really bad as of late. I'll see if I can fix that for tomorrow. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. So either way, though, family, that being said, it is quite a short stream today, but that does conclude all the content for today. We've got a big week next week. Hopefully we see this development come to some reasonable conclusion quite soon. Otherwise, we'll see potentially some more pullbacks. But yeah, all in all, it's been a good, reassuring day all in all for the markets and what we're going to see coming through soon. VIP, stay tuned for tomorrow, and members, stay tuned for tomorrow's recap. The executive roundtable reposted, re-upload. You tune into that as well and let me know your thoughts. If you want to find out more as well, again, always check out the VIP. You can learn a lot more in there. You posted a lot of documentation this week about what we're going to talk about, so you can get ahead of the game as well. But that being said, family, hope you're doing very, very well. If you enjoyed the stream, leave a like, share your friends, subscribe for more. You can learn more in the VIP. And yeah, thank you always.